All right, what is happening? How's everyone today? My name is Chuck. Welcome back to a brand new video. Today, fellas, we're jumping into my top 5 guns y'all should be using here on Rebirth Island. I love keeping this series going because I get to recommend you guys to use a lot of really different builds that are pretty awesome. And today, of course, is no different. I'm gonna give you guys some crazy build here for some ARs, some SMGs that I think y'all are absolutely gonna love. And I gotta put it out there, these are the best ones that I can possibly come up with because this is what I use personally, and I don't want to ever put myself at a disadvantage. So for sure, I'm not gonna put you guys at a disadvantage when giving you guys these builds. Before any farther into the video, I want to give a shout out to the Noti Gang to all be featured in a future vid. Make sure y'all drop a like, subscribe, the notifications turned on, comment down below Noti Gang, and make sure y'all watch the video all the way through. With that being said, let's hop into these setups. All right, folks, the first gun we're taking a look at here today is going to be the Vanguard Type 100. This is an absolute beast of a weapon. It's got an incredibly fast TTK. The mobility is not necessarily where I'd prefer it to be, but if it was any better, it'd probably be ungodly overpowered. And this thing's going to have just a tad bit of recoil, but overall, it's going to be absolutely deleting people. And I've uploaded some videos on this thing here recently. You guys are for sure going to have to be trying this gun out because it is absolutely disgusting. So let's get into a setup for it. All right, so this is going to be my setup here for the Type 100. Let's jump in and break this down. First thing on this is going to be the recoil booster. This is going to help out our TTK quite significantly. It's going to make it so that we are overall going to be having our TTK lowered or increased, depending on how you ever want to look at it. Basically, you're going to be taking out people faster, so that's what we need to know about this thing. The recoil booster for sure helps out with that. After that, in the barrel section, we got the Warabuchi 134mm rapid barrel for an increase in fire rate and damage range. This one is absolutely incredible, and I wouldn't recommend anything else. I know it says it decreases your damage and accuracy and stuff like that, but don't worry about it. We're totally going to be fine by using this barrel. After that, in the underbarrel section, to combat some of the recoil on this gun, we got the M1941 hand stop. This is pretty crucial because this gun will bounce around, like it does kind of jiggle a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So we definitely need the M1941 hand stop for this thing. In the magazine, we got the 8mm Kurz 48 round drum. This increased our bullet velocity, damage, bullet penetration, and damage range. So any of that stuff we lost by adding that barrel on there, we have regained back and then some here with this magazine. And of course, it says decrease your fire rate, but we got the recoil booster on there. So don't even worry about this thing here. This is going to be the drum that we need to be able to use. Like, this is the magazine on here that I would recommend exclusively using. After that, we have the lengthened ammunition type for increase in bullet velocity. I would recommend something like hollow point or even before that incendiary, but that incendiary got nerfed. We moved to hollow point. Hollow point got nerfed, so now we move to lengthened. That's just going to be how what we use for most of our guns. In the rear grip section here, we have the leather grip here for ADS speed and aiming stability. This has no cons. The fabric grip is what I normally would use otherwise, but you start losing accuracy, and because this gun jiggles here, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to be losing more accuracy than we already are, so definitely not a good way to use like the fabric grip on here. Always use the leather grip, in my opinion. In the optic section, we have the slight reflector here. This is going to be pretty crucial. I know some people like using the iron sights on guns. You can get away with that in a large majority of these SMGs, but for me, something like the well gun, I like using the I don't like using the iron sights, and on the Type 100, I don't like using the iron sights. And it's not just because they're like bad. Realistically, the Sakura short irons are pretty solid. They really are, but because the way this gun moves around and it jumps around like the way it does, I feel like it makes it harder to see your enemies. So the slight reflector is going to be the way to kind of keep your sights, you know, really clear and easy to be able to use. And that's hugely, hugely beneficial in my opinion. In the stock section, we got the Warabuchi grip folding here for aim walking movement speed, aim walking steadiness, and initial firing recoil. This is definitely the way to go for this thing. Absolutely crucial when it comes down to using this gun, just because, I mean, the rest of these stocks are like decent, but you start losing ADS speed. We don't want to lose ADS speed. Like, there's so many different cons to these things. It sucks that you have to kind of pick which one you want to be able to, you know, lose out on some with, and the Warabuchi, kind of overall speaking, is going to be the best one to be able to do it with. In the perk section, this is going to be our first perk here, and that's going to be acrobatic. For whatever reason, I accidentally have gung-ho saved on this thing. Don't use gung-ho. That's not the way to go. Use acrobatic. I apologize for that one. But acrobatic is the way to go. I have to update my variant here after I'm done making this video. In the perk 2, we have quick here for sprint speed, and that's going to be, you know, my 2 perks of choice for this gun. This can be my full build here. The full build that you should be using, don't use gung-ho down there and, you know, perk 1, but use this. This is incredible. Definitely give the Type 100 a shot. Absolute unit of a gun. It's incredible. Give it a shot. Now for a gun that is next up, a gun that is very popular here in Warzone, the Cooper Carbine. This is a fantastic gun to use either as an AR or as an SMG here in Warzone, or it doesn't matter if it's on Caldera, on Rebirth Island. You can use this with a variety of different ways, and this is going to be a really solid setup here that you guys can be able to use this as a true AR, and it's going to be incredibly accurate, very low recoil. So that's why we love this thing, and it's got a great magazine size. So let's jump into this. All right, so this can be my build here for this gun off rip. Now let's jump in and explain this. First thing is going to be the MX silencer. This is crucial for this gun because we're trying to eliminate as much recoil as possible. It helps keep us off the radar. I like my ARs to be off the radar. The SMGs I'm not as worried about, but for the longer range stuff, I prefer, my ARs to be silenced. So we have the MX silencer. In the barrel section, we got the Cooper Custom here for highly accurate and controllable recoil, reduced scope sway and gun bop, and it has the benefit of increasing our fire rate, which is definitely a good thing. So that's why I'd recommend this barrel. After that, the underbarrel, we got the M1941 hand stop, a pretty tried and true underbarrel for an attachment here for all these Vanguard guns. I don't really go with anything else on these things, to be honest with you. In the magazine section, we got them the 9mm 60 round drum here, and this does increase our fire rate, recoil control and accuracy, ADS speed, and magazine ammo capacity. It does do some negative stuff here for things you'd really think would be crucial for an AR, and it is. But overall, this gun is significantly better using this magazine as opposed to all the others, so that's why we use this. In the ammunition side of things, we got the lengthened here. Of course, this increases our bullet velocity. We want to be able to make sure our bullets are hitting faster when it comes down to getting our shots to hit long range. So that's why we run lengthened. In the rear grip section, we have leather grip here, ADS speed, aiming stability. You don't need anything else on here. Like I said with the previous gun, fabric grip makes you lose accuracy. In an AR, you don't want to be losing your accuracy because that's going to really bite you in the ass at longer range. So leather grip is going to be the way to go. In the optics section, we have the G16 2.5x. You don't really need anything more than a 2.5 on Rebirth, to be honest. I mean, at that point, if you're trying to hit somebody from a distance in which the 2.5 is not enough for you, you probably should just leave them be or get closer to them. So the 2.5 is kind of a good way to almost manage your gunfights and be like, okay, I shouldn't be approaching this person if they're that far away. Like, focus on something else. It's Rebirth Island. There's a lot of people everywhere. Don't need to be going for something that's outside of that range in which you can really easily see people. In the stock section, the Cooper 45W is what we're going with here. This makes it so our guns significantly more accurate and easier to control during sustained fire. Gotta love that. And then for our perks here, we have tight grip here for accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. This is a really solid one, and it definitely helps out quite a bit. And in perk 2, we have fully loaded. This helps out with our maximum starting ammo capacity, which is definitely a really good thing. I mean, we gotta love this. It doesn't matter if it's your first loadout, it's your second loadout. Having maximum starting ammo in your AR is always a good thing. This is my full build for this gun. Hope you all enjoy this. Definitely give it a shot. I like the Cooper Carbine quite a bit. It's definitely really solid. Now let's take a look at a gun that does require some more skill to be able to use because it's got a tad bit more recoil, but hits really hard, kind of like the C58, and that's indeed the EM2. The EM2 is a gun I don't see as much being used on Rebirth just because it, like I said, it has that recoil, but if you're able to manage the recoil, and there's a really cool variant for it, by the way, here, if you're able to control the recoil, you're going to be downing people unbelievably quick, and that's what really matters, and the overall mobility on this gun is pretty solid too, so in my opinion, it's a really good AR to use as long as you can control that recoil. So let's hop into a build for it. All right, so this is gonna be my build here off rip. For any of you guys that want to be able to see this, now let's break this down. First thing in here, agency suppressor. The agency suppressor is really good and at being able to control that recoil, keeping us off the radar. You definitely need this. There's no other options in here that I would ever recommend. I mean, just definitely not. I mean, even pre-patch, all the different patches for the EM2 is a lot more of a laser beam. I still would recommend the agency suppressor. After that, in the barrel section, the 25.8 task force. Definitely need this one here. This is a large barrel, and it's ultimately going to be the most effective here and increasing our bullet velocity, helping out with that recoil and making us more effective at range, which is definitely something we really want to be able to have. The cons don't matter too much because this is indeed an AR meant for range engagements, medium to longer range, and we don't really care as much about mobility, but we just a little bit, but not that much. In the underbarrel section, we got the field agent grip here for horizontal and vertical recoil control. This is a really good grip. I don't think I'd go with anything else in here. Nothing else in here really compares to the field agent and its overall ability to be able to maintain your accuracy and be able to hit your shots, because hitting shots is ultimately the most important thing in Warzone. If you can't hit your shots, then you're just going to die. So we don't want that. In the magazine section, we got the 40 round magazine here. I prefer to go with the 45, and like I do with the 45, I prefer to go with the 40 on this gun and like the 45 on the C58. But you guys could definitely get away from the Stenag 50. And by the way, if you happen to get this variant, it actually does come with a Stenag 50. So you'll be able to get like this entire build right here, including the 50 round magazine. And only thing you really got to change on this is the 40 round magazine, and throw that on there if you want a little bit more mobility. If you can deal with having a little bit less, then the 50 is your way to go. I mean, just kind of is what it is. You really can't go wrong with either or. For our last attachment here, we got the beautiful Axle Arms 3x. Like I said, this is about any of my other, builds. This is what I run for all of my Cold War ARs. The Axle Arms is crazy, and this variant comes with its own built-in, 3x scope. So that's pretty cool. This is a really, really nice variant, really good build, really fun gun to use, tad bit of recoil, but overall, it's incredibly good. And I would recommend for you guys to go and try this one out or level this gun up if you, for whatever reason, have not been using this gun. Now I want to show you guys a build here with the Modern Warfare MP5. I absolutely love this gun. It's been really growing on me here as of recent. I just don't really like the Cold War MP5 all that much anymore. It feels like it's too much of a hit marker machine, and I think this thing hits way harder, and it's got incredible mobility, really great hipfire accuracy. So it's just overall a top tier SMG secondary to be able to use, and everybody can use the Modern Warfare weapons. They're the easiest to unlock and level up. Okay, so this is gonna be my build here off rip. Let's jump into this thing. First thing on here, mono suppressor. There's a big debate out there between the mono on the end of the gun versus the barrel, the integrated mono. It's negligible at the performance difference. What it comes down to is, visually speaking, what do you prefer to see on your gun? I feel like sometimes the iron sights are a little bit easier to use with the mono on the end of the gun. It looks a little less blocky, I want to say, versus when it's got the integral. It's very minimal, but you just have to be able to decide for yourself what actually looks better, because the performance really is not going to be anything you're going to notice at all. I mean, it's just so unbelievably slim, if anything, that I just recommend using the mono on the end of the gun if you like the way it looks, or if you want to use the integral, it doesn't matter. After that, though, since we're skipping the barrel section, going to the underbarrel section, going for that Merc foregrip. This is really good for overall recoil control and, of course, hipfire accuracy. If you're not really keen on going for a lot of hipfire stuff, which it wouldn't really make sense because this gun excels at hipfire, you guys go with something like the Operator, and that's gonna be really incredibly good for recoil control. I've had great success using the Operator, and that's gonna be really, really good. Or, if you want a little bit more hipfire accuracy, I think it slows you down maybe just a tad bit more, but it really doesn't matter. The hipfire accuracy is significantly better with this grip, and it still helps your recoil control. So that's why I preferred the Merc foregrip, just because like I in those situations, and I just, hip fire, shoot from the hip, works great. The magazine section, 45 round mag. We really don't got to talk too much about this. I mean, this is just the only option that's worthwhile using. That 10mm auto 30 round, I picked this up off the ground a couple of times. It's absolute, shenanigans. Don't use it. It's not worth it. The 45 is just the way to go for everything. There's a reason everybody uses the 45. It's because it works the best. So don't try to reinvent the wheel when you don't have to. I mean, just use what works. And now for our stock section, for our next attachment, we have the EPTAC collapsible here. Movement speed, ADS speed. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory at this point. We like to be able to move around fast, so we got that on there. And of course, it helps our ADS, which is incredibly good because this is an SMG, and the faster we're able to pick up our gun in close quarters, the better. And for our last thing here, we have sleight of hand in our perk section. You guys could swap out sleight of hand for something like maybe a laser, go for the 5MW, just increase your hipfire accuracy and sprint to fire, but I kind of prefer to be able to have sleight of hand on my gun just because that reload quickness comes in very useful, specifically on Rebirth Island. It makes a big difference when I'm fighting 2, 3, 4 people at a time. It can make a huge difference in my life and death situations. It's saved my bacon more times than not, so that's kind of why I like that. This is my full build here for the MP5. It's unfortunate, by the way, that we can't put these camos on our Modern Warfare guns anymore. I'm just lucky that I got this thing saved because they removed the ability to put these Vanguard camos on the Modern Warfare and Cold War guns. It kind of sucks. All right, for our final build here today, we're taking a look at the Vanguard MP40. This is going to be a new and updated build for this thing. I'm getting a lot of comments, people asking me, Chuck, what do you use on this thing? Because I've been using it in my gameplays, because this is like my go-to secondary right now. I've been exclusively using the MP40, and I got this beautiful snake variant, by the way, that I just bought. I think this is kind of tough. And I think this is like a top tier meta secondary right now, like probably the best one out there. So let's show you guys this one. All right, so this is gonna be my full setup for it. So let's go ahead and break it down real quick. First thing in here, recoil booster. Don't gotta explain this one. Helps out the TTK quite a bit. We don't really care about having a silencer on our SMGs. After that, in the barrel section, we got the VDD 189mm short barrel for increase in damage range and limb damage. We don't care as much about losing the headshot damage because the limb damage and damage range is overall really good. It makes this gun significantly more effective because it did get nerfed a little while ago. People were all using the Krausnik barrel on there, but now we switched exclusively over to the short barrel. Now, in the underbarrel section, we got the M1941 hand stop. I believe this is pretty necessary on there just because it really helps out your recoil control and your accuracy. And this gun will bounce around a little bit, so you need to be able to control that as much as possible. And the 41 hand stop is really going to help out with that. In the magazine section, the 7.62 Gorenko 45 round mag is just going to be what we're using. We used this previously. We're still using it nowadays. It's just overall really good. And I would say, like, y'all should be using this one. Like, there ain't no reason to use any of this other shenanigans in here. In the ammunition side, lengthened once again, just because, I mean, we don't really got anything else in here that we can use that's that beneficial. I've seen people use frangible. It's kind of annoying to get hit by. You see it every now and again, but lengthened's going to be the way to go for this thing. In the rear grip section, we got the pine tar grip on here for recoil control and hipfire accuracy. Because this thing, like I said, bounces around, we want to make sure that we can control that. And the pine tar grip is really going to help out with that. It's just going to give us that little bit extra. I do believe it's quite beneficial. In the optics section, this is one of those guns where you can use the iron sights, or you can go with something like a slate reflector. For me personally, I really like these iron sights. I think they're unbelievably clear, super easy to use. I mean, it's literally just like, you know, a V with like one, you know, little point in the middle. It's very easy to use at close quarter situations. You can see everything else around you. There's nothing obstructing your view. That's why I like using this. And you get an ADS speed benefit, which is overall good. If you use the slate reflector, I mean, you're not going to get any sort of con, but you just won't get the ADS benefit. And that's why I like using the Krausnik ISO1M iron sights. Wherever it is, I mean, just the Krausnik iron sights. The bottom ones, the large ones. In the stock section, though, we have the Krausnik 33M folding stock, sprint to fire, and movement speed. Really, really good here. For overall just making us be able to move around faster. And I love having that extra sprint to fire in there. I mean, I prefer this much so over the remove stock. I just believe that when you have this build in particular here, having like less recoil control on this is not the way to go. So you definitely need the Krausnik, and it also looks lime green here with this variant, so I kind of like that a little bit extra. Now for our perks, we have brace for initial firing recoil. That's why, like I said, we got that stock on there. We're not using the no stock. Like, we're trying to control this recoil as much as possible while making us very agile. So the brace is good way to go. And then perk 2, quick, of course, increase that sprint speed, be able to move around the map like a madman. Gotta love that. That's why I run around with my SMG out all the time. I gotta be able to get from point A to point B to C to D to F to, you know, Z. I'm trying to drop, you know, like 20, 30 kill game. I gotta be able to move around, you know, very, very quickly, and this is gonna help me do that when I just whip out this gun. This is my full build on this thing. Hope y'all have enjoyed today's video. These are definitely some top tier weapons. If you guys enjoyed, you're like, subscribe if you're brand new, turn on those noties, and just on the trick cap, don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.